So in Bombay, it was a very sad day, one day, and that was on the 28th of September 1977. I got a phone call from Giriraj Swami, and that was at about 4:30 in the morning. And the most sad thing I heard from Giriraj Maharaj, he was crying on the phone, and he said, I want you to bring your big, in those days I had a big Dodge car. It was one of those huge cars, and the Americans used to make, where even you could sleep at the back. And he said, Prabhupada wants to leave his body. And I said, what? I'd never heard anybody say that somebody wants to leave his body. It sounded more like, he wanted to commit suicide or something. I said, what do you mean Prabhupada wants to leave his body? Where does he want to leave his body? He said he wants to go to Vrindavan, and he's leaving his body, he's going away. And we have to drop him at the station. But his body, because he hadn't eaten for nearly 6 months, he lived only on juice and charanamrit. So his body had depleted. There were hardly any muscles, and the bones and these veins were pressing, and it was very painful. So here was the person whom I had fought, then I had argued with. He was like a lion. He was a very, very fine debater. He could defeat anyone on the matter of philosophy. And then suddenly when I saw Prabhupada that morning, I saw that he was very, very thin, and it's like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he had withdrawn himself, like a tortoise withdraws himself. So this morning, it's 28th September 1977, Srila Prabhupada decided to leave, and so for the first time I cleaned my car, because I didn't want Prabhupada to sleep in an unclean car. My wife arranged a nice silk bedding, and we had flowers and incenses. I drove to the temple, and there several things happened. Number one, when Prabhupada was brought down from his quarters, it was in like a basket, a big basket, and reminded me of stories like Moses or Karna. They were brought in baskets and left in the river or something. And I could see, like, there were devotees crying, and they were all devastated is the only word I can say. Spiritually, they were very much feeling intensely separation which was going to take place from Prabhupada. And I was supposed to drive, and I felt like a cruel, a real cruel guy, taking away Prabhupada away from the devotees. But that was my duty, I had to do that. So I was in the front driving. Next to me was Brahmananda Swami, he's quite big, and next to him was Tamal Krishna Swami, who was Prabhupada's last secretary, and finally it was Giriraj Maharaj. 4 of us, it was such a huge big car, 4 people could sit in the front. There were no bucket seats in those days, and there was steering and the stick shift up in the steering wheel, and Prabhupada was resting at the back fully, and Upendra was his last servant. He was sitting down on the floor level of the car, and Prabhupada's luggage was behind. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj, like a school teacher, told me, drive very slowly. Don't drive fast, because in the Bombay roads there are potholes, and Prabhupada will be very uncomfortable. So I said, fine. So I just asked them, we are going to Bombay Central Station, and which train are we going to catch? Prabhupada's taking the Mathura Express. He was supposed to go to Vrindavan. So now, mind you, this was from 4:30 and till 8 o'clock I had not had any water or anything, and then 9 o'clock, and then this was quite hot, and Prabhupada was in the car. We were driving very slowly. Upendra from the back told me, Prabhupada wants you to drive faster. So I said, okay, if Prabhupada wants me to drive faster, I'll drive fast. I had been a rally driver when I was young, and I could drive real fast. So I just picked up the speed. And in those days, these were huge, big cars with big guzzlers, gas guzzlers. They could just move. The moment I pressed the accelerator, Tamal Krishna Maharaj got very upset. He said, I told you to go slow. What are you doing? So I said, well, I was just told by Upendra at the back that Prabhupada wants me to drive faster. He said, no, go slow. So I slowed down again. True enough, within a minute, Upendra was again telling me, Prabhupada had said, go faster. Now, why aren't you going faster? Now, I was getting, so I said, the real person I have to serve is Prabhupada, let me drive faster. And I said to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, you sort this out with Upendra and allow me to drive. So we reached, what we thought was, we reached too early to the Bombay Central Station. So myself and Ram Tulsi, another devotee there, we went to the station master to get the wheelchair for Prabhupada to transport him from my car to the railway in his special cabin. So I just, by my usual style, I asked the station master, this Mathura Express is going at 11 o'clock? He said, didn't you read today's newspaper? It's 10:30. The timing has just got changed today. And I looked at my watch and I said, there are 5 minutes left. The train's going to go in 5 minutes. Ram Tulsi and I ran with the wheelchair. And I told that station master, I'll pay you anything, but stop that train. Don't start it till I tell you. And he said, what? I've never had such a request. I said, there's a big team coming and there's a very holy person and he's going to leave his body in Vrindavan and he has to be on that train. And he said, leave his body? What do you mean? I said, just run with me. And so we were running. I was quite young then. I'm now 57, but at that time I was 37, 20 years ago, yes. So we put Prabhupada in there. Oh, I told Giriraj Maharaj, you guys goofed. It's, the train's going half an hour early today. He says, no, it's there in the timetable. I said, whatever is in the paper, that doesn't matter. The station master is going to blow his whistle and the train's going to go. So we better take Prabhupada with us. So we ran. Some of the devotees got the thing ready for Prabhupada in his special cabin, which was non-air conditioned. Should have been air conditioned cabin, but for some reason they booked non-air conditioned. And then we took Prabhupada, and just a few minutes before the train was about to leave, he was comfortably sleeping in his compartment. Now, mind you, this was already nearly 10:30 and I was so thirsty. So I'd just gone to pick up a soda bottle from the stand at the railway. And Prabhupada's servant Upendra says, Prabhupada's calling you inside. So I just left the soda bottle and I went in the cabin, wondering why is Prabhupada calling me. And Prabhupada said, come closer. So I went very close to him and he said, I want to thank you for driving me. And it was very touching because he was in so much pain. He was just about to give up his body. I had done nothing much except this. So right there in the train in front of everyone, I just offered my obeisances, caught Prabhupada's lotus feet. Tamal Krishna Maharaj and others, don't touch his feet. I said, no, this is it. This is the last moment I'll ever get. And I said, Prabhupada, I surrender to you. You are my spiritual master. And he put his hand in my hair and blessed me. He actually he got up with a little pressure on his elbow and he was smiling sweetly. The train started. And some of the devotees said, look, the train started and you better jump off, otherwise the next station is, quite far away. Reluctantly, I jumped off the train, the moving train, and I kept watching the train till the last bogie had left. And I wasn't thirsty anymore and I couldn't care for the bottle. Then when I got into the car with tears in my eyes, lo and behold, there was Prabhupada's garland on the steering wheel. He'd not forgotten. So that's it. That was the last I met Prabhupada, and from 71 to 77, and whatever I did, my memories of Prabhupada is just basically I was fighting him. It was more arguing, fighting and surrendering at the end. Hare Krishna.